Oh, I didn't do the intro. Oh, that's my bad. Well, I started the stream. Okay. Welcome to another edition of Super Mater Bros Podcasting. We are talking about Survivor episode 3, I believe this is. What's the title of this episode, Foster? Do you have it there?
No Man Left Behind.
No Man Left Behind. Okay. I missed episode 2. So I didn't see the demise of Brandon. I'm sad I missed that. So in the preview for this episode, I was upset that I missed that episode. But I don't think this episode disappointed. I thought it was actually a pretty good Survivor episode compared to what I watched the first week.
Oh no, it's a lot better, Jeff.
It's getting better. It's but it was in the basement. It was in the gutter. So it's only up from here. But yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. Kind of the reward part was a bit slow. We'll get to it. Why are they giving them fruit? I wouldn't want fruit. Give me something with some carbs. My God.
Oh, I want some meat.
Yeah, meat or carbs. Fruit, that's just gonna make you hungrier. But anyway, I thought, and again, I think the top story of the night is Lulu sucks. They can't win. They could win a reward. But that was it.
Yeah, the shining moment didn't last very long. That's for sure. All that fruit did not help them out, is what I'm trying to say.
No. Well, how could it?
Gave them no energy. Didn't matter the numbers.
They couldn't figure out that puzzle on, living on grapes.
Yeah, geez, eh?
Okay. So, can we kind of start off tonight? We're recapping what happened with why Caleb and Sabaya kind of specifically decided to keep Emily and not Brandon.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's interesting because in the last episode, and you'll love this because I know that you liked Emily in the first episode, right? She's having a real turnaround, Jeff, right? And you've really seen that from this. I know that you missed last week, but you really see it in this episode, where last week she basically said, she said this literally to, I think it was Caleb or maybe the group, and is like, I made mistakes, I need to change. And let's move forward, basically, right? Those are kind of like a summary of her words, right? So she was basically vocal as she already is. Was basically just like, I did not do well, if we're talking first episode, and I can be better, right? Like I can be trustworthy, right? So basically, she gave Caleb, and you saw this, Caleb and Sabai, her shot in the dark, right?
Right.
That was a very smart play on her part to basically solidify trust, saying like, I'm with you guys, let's not do Brandon, right? And the problem also with Brandon was that he was still struggling, right? He didn't have another good episode, and it was really kind of tough for him to get kind of his footing in the game. He had a little bit of potential socially, but he did not do well in the challenge again. There was a puzzle at the end of it, and he dropped the ball hard, and he knew very shortly after that, like, I'm pretty much going home, right? So he took it. He kind of took it well, because he kind of knew it. But Emily definitely mended those bridges that she basically initially burned just by being herself, unapologetically, right? And she recognized that her gameplay was not, very quickly realized that it was not working. She needed to change. And, she built enough trust that we saw last week that, she could move at least into the next, vote, and get Brandon out this time.
Yeah. Well, see, I missed episode 2, but I mean, I don't know how that Brandon guy even made it. I mean, I know how a girl quit, but I'm just glad he was gone. I was just like, he wasn't meant for the Survivor. I was like, perfect. I don't have to watch that anymore. That's how I felt as a viewer who skips the episode 2. I was like, okay, great.
And for those who don't know, and we're not going to disclose the location because Jeffrey from the Jeffrey Tubes is very busy. But he was on a trip last week, very important, personal affair, and with his family. and no, we're glad to have him back. But no, there's no worries at all. But I think, like I said, in terms of Brandon, like that's pretty much how it goes. Like Bello and Reba were, doing the same old winning. There was a little bit more of this. You saw it tonight. Like there was a trust built between Austin and sorry, Drew. Thank you. And then obviously around that is Mama J and or Julie, whatever, and D, right? So there's that Ford and Reba. And then Bello, basically, it was the three girls versus the three guys with Brando kind of like in the middle because, like, not on his own, but more so because Bruce and Jake had developed a bond. Right?
This blue tribe is annoying as hell. Okay, the red tribe, I actually kind of like the story there and what's going on. But the blue tribe is so annoying. Like everything's about like, oh, here's a lawyer. Oh, they don't know I'm a lawyer. Oh, we can't trust him. Or oh, he'd be perfect. Like I don't know what the one girl's name is with the tats on the blue tribe, but she is super annoying, like to watch. You know, I think she'll be good for the show. I'm not saying, but my God, like
which one? The one that the bartender that's talking tonight? My pick, Kendra.
Yeah, she's.
No, come on, Kendra. No, you can't hate on Kendra. Come on, Jack.
I'm hating on Kendra. I think she's good for the show. I'm not. I think she's a good character, but man, I can't stand her.
I picked her because I know that she'll go far because she didn't look like she was someone that was going to make waves, but she also looked like someone that could keep up.
She's going to make waves. I'm telling you right now, she is going to piss people off because she is an opinionated woman that will say the wrong thing at the wrong time. I think.
Well, we'll see. I think I have hope for Kendra. I have hope for Kendra.
I hope you're right, but because I do think she's entertaining. I will give her that. There are some other people on this show, like I'm like the singer songwriter. I forget her name.
Yes, she didn't get much screen time this episode. You notice that,
because she's boring. Yeah, she's just a kind of a boring whatever character, and just not bringing a lot to the show. So maybe it's because she's in No Alliance, or we'll see. Maybe it'll change, but right now,
it's Jaemeel. Sam says
Jaemeel, yeah. But overall, I'm the blue tribe annoys me. Like I don't like any of them. Maybe it's because none of them have lost. Like maybe Lulu's right. Like they haven't experienced loss, and so everything's like even like the wicked smack guy from Boston, like
Jake,
when he's cheering on the bench during the rewards. I'm just like, shut up. Like I don't know. I just I have problems with the blue tribe. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's okay. That's okay. We're here to have conflicts, and we're here to have discussions. So, but no, I think that based on last week coming into this episode, you kind of saw Lulu the track they were going down. Losing 2 in a row, and you see just this happy-go-lucky kind of in a sense like nothing going on Bello, and then Reba, who's there's that 4 core, and then obviously Austin and Drew that are actually doing something, right? So. It's interesting to see like that tribe. I think Reba and obviously Lulu is just all about sadness and despair, and getting to the in this episode they get their reward challenge win, but not nearly enough.
Well, I know we're jumping ahead here, but let's talk a little bit about this vote quick. The fact that Sabaya kind of plays herself here in this episode. I felt like by the end I was like, you deserved everything you got there.
Yeah, she seemed like very what's the word I'm looking for? Content, right? Like not suspicious, right? Like very I don't know. She didn't protrude confidence, but she did kind of like feel that in a sense, right? Like she kind of felt she was safe up until the end.
She didn't play Emily properly. Yeah, she needed to make Emily feel like Emily could trust her. She's
a wine and diner is what you're trying to say.
Well, Caleb obviously made her feel a lot more tight with her, and a lot less like I felt like today. If I'm Emily, Sabaya's just using me to get Caleb out, because she thinks that's a better path for her to win. But she'll cut me just as fast as she'll cut Caleb. Like it's not a good sign. Even when you're the person on the outs, someone comes to you, hey, I want to vote out my closest ally. I mean, some people would just go, I think maybe 80% of people would go, okay, well, as long as it's not me. But Emily is not the type of person to do that. Like, like I think somebody should have been a little bit more wise about that. That Emily's like a crafty kind of, thinks outside the box type person. Like she was willing to call out Bruce like on the boat. Like why? She didn't need to do that, but she did. And again, here, like she didn't need to vote out Sabaya tonight. She didn't need to do that. She could have just got out Caleb. But that's not that's who Emily is. She pivots. She goes. She thinks a little bit less obvious. So
I
somebody
think
should have been a lot smarter about that. She was more worried about Caleb figuring her out than Emily basically betraying this backstab.
I think you're right. It's interesting because Emily really started off on the wrong foot and kind of like this is like almost the upgraded version of how Carolyn started last season, right? Because Carolyn was kind of fumbling around. You thought she was going to go early, and then she stuck around for a very long time, right? And but once again, I think, but this is more of a methodical approach when it comes to Emily, right? Where she's more self-aware and kind of and very vocal about it as well, right? Very honest about it. When we like, and this is a kind of a good kind of transition, I think, Jeff, because the beginning of the episode is like, she basically says out loud, she's like, oh, Jeff only said 2 votes out of 3 instead of out of 4, right? And like, so like the way that she's thinking out loud is like you said, like it's not like the other players.
Yeah, like she's smart enough to like figure out how the votes work, how what is best for not only her but a tribe sense, or who she really thinks about the game. She's a very cerebral player. So like again, and Sabaya's smart enough player to know that, but she really like tonight I felt like just completely shot herself in the foot. And what's the other guy's name on this tribe that doesn't talk?
This is I know it's going to be a problem all night.
He's the principal. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah, I know. There's because the problem is that they show enough players that you kind of get most of their names really quickly because they're showing a lot. But then there's some that he's like kind of like now, like like we'll talk about the the end of the episode. They talk about next episode they're going to do the tribes and all that, right? The re-emerging, right? So it's I think that we'll get to all of it, but with him, he's going to be able to actually show what he's got because he's been kind of in the background in that tribe on Lulu.
Is his name like Chris or something like that?
I can't remember.
It doesn't matter. The principal. We'll just call him the principal for now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sam. But anyway, he should have been talking to Sabaya about this plan a lot more carefully, and maybe he did. But like when Sabaya opens that idol thing. And the whole production today with the wax and the fire, and she's stoking the fire, the whole tribal, and I was just like, "What is this?" Like, I'm like, "What is going on?" And then she gets up there and she opens it, and then all she like she should have been smarter about this. Like, all that theatrics, I think, really hurt her because she didn't have time to think about what was the best thing to do.
They didn't. They didn't have no. It's kind of funny because she had no choice. They didn't have flint. They didn't have fire. They couldn't figure out how to do it without it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe you should have won something once.
I know. Right? It would have been better if they got their flint during reward, probably, than the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been.
Let's talk about let's talk about this reward challenge. You got some thoughts on that, though, eh?
The challenge, or like what happened after?
No, the challenge of the reward challenge.
Okay, the reward challenge was one where they threw the ball, right? And then they had to go catch the ball, and then they had to throw hoops onto the hook, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah, it was whatever. I all these challenges all blend. They all blurred for me now because they're almost all the same now. It's always something involving a ball and a hook and a hoop, and it's who can kind of do it the fastest. And then the immunity challenges are almost inevitably run an obstacle course and then build a puzzle at the end. So like it's like they're all the same now. And it's just like I used to really enjoy all the endurance ones, but they don't do those anymore really. Like, as far as like the ones that would go for a long, long time. Uh Everything's designed now to be fast, over quick. So if your team is like kind of tight and athletic, and if you noticed in the reward challenge, Josh, the red and blue team sat their best guys, or their most athletic guys, I would say, so they could participate in the immunity challenge instead. So
Yeah, that
they
was
kind of
interesting. It was the first implementation of the strategy of you can't sit back to back.
right, and so they punted fruit, and by the way, when he reveals the fruit and they're all like gushing and the big open jaws, and then they tell them, oh, but there's more, you're gonna get to go raid the camp, and then they're like, oh my god, they were so shocked. Like, I know it's TV, I get it, but my god, like, can you make it a bit more genuine, like,
You could have added
but
some baked goods. Jeez, why does it just have to
yeah,
be fruit?
honestly, I think it would have been way funnier had he revealed the fruit and one person was just like looking at it like, that's it.
I would have
I
been
gotta go.
upset. I don't eat.
Yeah.
I don't eat fruit. I'm sorry. That's a dietary thing, but it's I would be very upset to not see a flippin' bagel there or something like that or a muffin.
Wouldn't it be amazing if just someone was like, you know what, Jeff, I don't really appreciate this reward. You know, it's like, and like, especially if it was the yellow team, it's like I would sit out of this if I could because that's how much I don't want to do this.
Oh
I
my
don't want to
goodness.
burn these calories. To not get them back by eating fruit. Sorry. I just
Yeah,
think it would be
no, it
hilarious.
was
And,
not good.
uh,
I would
anyway,
not have been happy.
anyway, the whatever, Caleb, he gets the three hooks, like bang bang bang, and then it's between red and blue. I don't even who won. Red won, but then they ended up, so they got a little bit of fruit, but then they got their fishing gear taken from them later on in the episode when Caleb decides to raid them. So the blue team again getting off scot free for losing. I didn't like that.
Just being the middling team, just kind of waiting in the waters, doing nothing.
Yeah, they suck. Okay. So all right, let's talk a little bit about Caleb choosing, like, isn't that the next thing where he
Yeah.
goes?
Caleb gets the advantage that he goes to which camp did he decide? So he either gets to go to Reba or Bello and take one item, right? I thought it was one item, but it does. He said the fishing gear, right? So obviously he clarified that, but it seemed like Jeff made it seem like it was like one piece of like the spear only kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well, what would you have taken?
Um, Well, it's interesting because I actually had a friend of mine reach out, and he's just like, because talking during the episode, and he's just like, why didn't he take the flint,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Well, I think that in my initial reaction was that, well, if from what I've seen, if they do come in second on the next challenge, then they'll get their flint finally, right? So they were probably like, well, we're not going to be able to get a chance to get fishing gear anymore. So let's capitalize on that, and we'll try to get Flint to the next challenge based on this win.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes but Sabaya had gone to camp. Would she have taken the flint instead of the fishing gear? I wonder.
I wonder if, well, I think they would have talked about it. I don't necessarily think that Caleb would have made that decision on his own. And he also, like, he probably, because once again, like the way he said it during the episode when he got there was like, we can, it's not just like one item. It's like, we take all the fishing gear, right? But we'll
Yeah.
leave you the spear or something like that, right? So it seemed like it was obvious there was flexibility, like in terms of like, because it doesn't seem like it was all of or nothing kind of thing, right? It was like kind of in the middle a little bit.
I thought it was kind of
Um,
BS that he could take all that stuff. I thought it should have been like a pot or like a machete or a flint, or it should have been like
well,
one.
but they have them their own machete and don't they? Every tribe has a machete and a pot, right? That's the two standard items now.
Okay, so what else could they take other than the fishing gear? A
The
tarp?
flint. I thought my initial reaction when he said this was just like they're gonna. I didn't think what else there. I forgot about the fishing gear at first, and I was like, oh, they're gonna take one of their personal items or something like that, just to be like a dig or something, right? I just thought it was something more funny like that. But obviously that doesn't make any sense. But no, it's like what else
Or
could they have done, right?
they could have taken Sifu's like makeshift guitar. Like they could have taken that.
Yeah, there wasn't really many options at this early in the game, right? Like, it felt like you could have done the raid a little bit later, when they have like a tarp or pillows and blankets, or what else? What would be the other ones that they get later on?
That's about it. Like they don't get that much stuff usually. It's like fishing gear, tarp, like comfort items like pillows and blankets. That they don't. Other than that, I can't really. A hammock maybe they get.
Oh, they would. Oh, well, they would get like bags of rice at some point. I think, right? They could win that, so they could take some of that, not all of it. I would think. But no, there's not really like obviously that's more than a few options, but that's later on in the game, right? Like I felt like it was kind of early, especially maybe when we see at the end of this episode when they're talking about rearranging the tribes, right? It just says to me that like they did not account for that when they did the reward challenge because they they could have waited for that part. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like they like did the reward challenge and like, oh, Lulu, and then Lulu won. Okay, let's keep it going. And then they lost, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know. Like it just, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like this Lulu tribe sucks so bad that Caleb or the principal guy or Emily are going to go far in the game now because that's inevitably what always happens. Because the other two tribes eat each other because they look at each other as threats. You won't see like a Pagongi. It doesn't happen anymore in Survivor, really. One of these three players that are left in this yellow tribe will, to me, be in the final five, guaranteed. That's
Or
how I feel.
for the from the Lulu tribe.
There might be, all three of them might be in the final five. Like I would not be surprised.
Well, the way
Because
that we've seen it before though, right? Like if they divide into three tribes, then if each of them goes somewhere else somehow, right? Like and they all separate, then they're free agents, right? And they're the least dangerous to every other one of those players because they haven't built any relationships with them yet, right? They're more of an asset because they can be, brought on board, right? More easily because they don't have any allegiance to anybody. But it'll be interesting to see obviously how that happens, and we'll get to more a little bit later. But it's like once again, like it's just the show pivoting very like it's not planned, and it didn't seem planned. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it just
Obviously,
seems
they
to
don't.
be
Obviously, well, they didn't expect Lulu to lose this much, but like they could have realized a week or two earlier.
Well, and let me just say this, and I think it was said in the first episode. I think you said it, Josh. Whoever put these tribes together, it's not fair. Like, like it was not like Caleb was that physically dominant that you could put Brandon and the quitter girl, Hannah, and the principal guy that's like 100 pounds. Like they just weren't able to me to compete with like both the red and blue tribes men. You know, uh, maybe the women they had they had strong women on the yellow tribe, but like that's not enough in these challenges. You can't have one strong man and two weak men going up against three pretty strong men. You know, like that really hurts you, and that's
Yeah,
why this
like it
yellow tribe's
was.
losing.
Yeah, it was definitely uneven because even if you look at the like if we're gonna dissect this a little bit more, right? Like you look at Reba and they've got Drew, who despite not having a lot of muscle is tall and seems coordinated and athletic, right? Like in a sense,
Yes,
right? Like I'm not talking like he's gonna ball on the basketball court, right? But he seems like he
right.
can control himself, right? And obviously height is advantage. And then you got Austin, obviously, is the typical looking or obviously performing player, and then
Who's the other guy in that tribe?
Sifu.
Sifu.
And
Yeah,
Sifu's
he's like
athletic, right? So there you
he's
go.
like a
So that's
linebacker.
So that's stacked, right? That's that's the top one in terms of we're talking the males, and then you look at Bellu, and it's you've got Jake
Yeah,
and the 40-year-old
Bruce.
Bruce, right? But he's still very fit, and then Brando, who's obviously a lot scrawnier and stuff, right? But
Right.
still 2 out of 3, right? So
Yeah.
you could have.
The
I think Reba was where they really messed up.
Yeah, Reba's definitely the more stacked team.
Like,
You know.
see, it would have worked out better if Sifu was on Lulu,
Yeah.
and let's say
Brandon was on Reba.
Brandon was on Reba.
Yeah, that's the swap that should have been made, because like it's like totally unfair. Like it's kind of like, to me, not it's not the Yellow Tribe's fault. It's the producers. It's whoever put these tribes together. Come on. Like it was kind of almost always going to go this way. And that's when the producer screwed it up. Cuz you're like, that's not right. You know? That's not the way this should go. You know? Anyway, um yeah, so what did you make of the whole Caleb going to the camp and him schmoozing, and they're all kind of talking about, oh, he does this for a living. He's this.
Well,
Yeah,
they caught on pretty quickly, right? They kind of they all Reba was all pretty aware. Like, who said it? I think it was it D or Julie said it. I think it was, and they're just like, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking, how he's talking. He knows how to make you feel good, make you feel how to word things, right? How to come across more as, hey, what about this, rather than I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you, right? Like, it's not, like, he's very approachable in a sense, right? But also direct with what he wants, but subtle.
he's a great schmoozer.
Yeah,
It really is.
good
He's really
talker.
good good talker. Good way to get people. He knows all the tactics of getting people off their guard. And he did that, and he got a lot of info that he needed, but he also like revealed himself as a threat, which was talked about by Emily a little bit. That he definitely, he's tall, athletic, good looking, and charming, and like he's gonna be looked at as a threat, like likable, like all these things. That if I was on the beach with him, his closest ally wanted to vote him out tonight. So like, that is kind of the game. I think that's going to kind of happen to him. Is he's going to be looked at? He's going to be kind of in the Malcolm role from the Philippines. Like this. Did you watch that season, Josh? The
I don't think
Philippines
so. I don't
season.
think I saw that one. No.
Okay, well that's the one. It's with like Abby Maria and Scoopin, but it's with Malcolm and Denise, and like and Malcolm and Denise are in
How do I
the kind of
recognize the
same.
Denise name? Oh, there's been many Denises though, right?
Well, Denise was she was in the Winners at War. If you watched it, that was only 5 seasons ago.
No. Okay. Well, I'm thinking of Malcolm. Okay, one second. What, Philippines?
Yeah, Philippines. It's like in the 20s. But that
No.
season's very similar to this season because Malcolm and Denise's tribe got decimated. They went down to 2 players. So if they lose again, the Yellow Tribe here, I think if that does happen, I think you'll see Emily and Caleb come out of that tribe, like Emily and Malcolm and Denise did out of Philippines.
Oh, Malcolm
And those,
Malcolm Freiberg.
yeah, and,
Okay, yeah,
and
I saw that season. Yeah.
yeah, and both of them went to the final 3 or 4. And Denise won. Because the other 2 tribes, who were all both full, ate each other at the merge. They couldn't help themselves but vote each other out. And so that's kind of what occurs here. Is what I'm trying to say is that when one tribe of the 3 just gets decimated, those players get ignored. And they usually go far in the game because that's just the way it breaks down. Even if they're considered big threats or they're charming, and so that's kind of what
Well,
happens.
that could like, I know that Caleb is a threat, but you could also equivalent him to Malcolm in a sense because he looked like a threat too, right? But he was able
Yeah,
to work his way. So like if you put that, and Emily is obviously not Denise, but if you kind of put her in that role of like under the radar and knowing what to say at what time, right? Like she's gonna, because once again she's gonna be looked at as an extra vote, right? She's gonna, I think, She seems well aware enough now that she's made a mistake and that she either needs to like smooth the transition into the next tribe, or she just needs to be subtle, really subtle to start.
Well, I mean, if Caleb doesn't have her trust for the rest of the game, I don't know what else he needs to, she needs to do. You know what I mean? She called the vote. She told him it was coming at her. He changed his vote. Tonight it should have been a tie vote. It really should have been. And it should have went to rocks, really, is what should have happened. And it would have been a way better episode. But Sabaya ruined it because she didn't vote. If she had voted tonight, we see a tie. And then they revote and we tie again, I think is what happens.
And then what happens then again?
They go to rocks.
Oh, just for those two?
Everyone.
Oh.
All of them go to rocks. So.
And when was the last time that happened?
Oh, it happened not that long ago. It happened in Oh, that's a good question. Forget the last time it happened. Maybe 5 or 6 seasons ago. It hasn't happened in a minute. But it's an interesting. It usually happens when it's a small tribe. It very rarely do you see, like the last time it happened when it was a big tribe was, I believe, Cagayan, and that was a great episode and stuff. When they go to rocks and they really mean it, it's like wow. And I think it would have happened tonight had Sabaya not had she voted. Like she totally played herself in this episode. Like talk about overconfidence.
Yeah, no, she did not. She obviously, well, you said at the beginning, she did not work over Emily enough.
Yeah, or she also could have played her idol, and then Caleb definitely goes home.
Was she able to use it right away?
Yeah, she could have used it right there on the spot at that tribal council.
I thought it said it has to. I thought she said she had to wait till the merge, or did I hear that wrong?
Only if she didn't vote.
Oh.
So the way the twist works, and we should talk about the twist of the idols because we saw it on the Red Tribe too. So basically, the way it works is you get this idol. Now it's a fair idol, but you basically it's only good for one tribal council, meaning you have to play it like right away. The next time you go to tribal, you have to play it. Now, if you decide not to vote, then it's good until the merge. And then if you decide not to use it one more time and you forgo your vote, then it's good to the final 5. So basically, what they did was they made it hard. They gave the idols less power because it used to be you got your idol and it's good to the final 5.
Well, I think it was who was it, Drew or somebody like said there's conditions on it, but there's also a time clock on it too, right? It makes the player with the idol kind of be a little bit more quicker to play it, more urgent to use it rather than waste it. And I think that what they're trying to do is incorporate, because especially with the 90-minute episodes, they're probably trying to incorporate more hidden idols, but obviously more have to be played, right, to do that.
Okay, but like tonight, Josh, I think this is a mistake in some ways because, okay, in theory and in like on paper, it's a great idea. Make them work for it. Make them work for the power, and I do like that part. But tonight,
you're talking about the steps right now.
Yeah, the steps. Like tonight, had she just gotten a regular idol, right? What would have happened was she would have voted, and then it would have tied, and then it probably would have went to rocks, and that to me is a lot better and more dramatic than watching Sabaya get voted out like this, But maybe that's just me. Maybe a lot of people love that she got her just desserts because she did have to play this twist, and she did risk it for the biscuit, and she didn't get the biscuit. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like it kind of robbed us of a great moment tonight. That would have been, it would have been this. I think a great betrayal. Like, really, you voted for me? Okay, well, let's vote again. And then they do it, and it's a tie again. Because I don't think Principal Guy and Sabaya would have changed, and I definitely don't think Emily and Caleb were changing. So I think you would have seen it. The only way is if the Principal Guy, forget his name.
It's bad. I gotta look at it.
Yeah, just look it up if you can. Um, um, if he had decided no, okay, fine, we'll take out Sabaya, and which might have happened because a lot of people really don't want to go to Rocks. You know, they don't want that. They don't want their game being decided like that.
Sean.
Sean, yes, Sean, the principal. But I don't think so. I think he was loyal to Sabaya, and I think he would have voted with Sabaya in that instance. What do you think?
Um, I think. Sorry, repeat the last part of your question. Sorry,
Well, like,
I was looking at the cast list.
yeah. What do you think about like this twist? Do you think it robbed us? Do you think it would have went to Rocks tonight, like I do, or do you think, oh no, he probably would have changed his vote, or you know,
I
would you rather see like the episode tonight where she had to decide not to vote or not to vote? You know,
I guess what I think my initial thought is that I think that Sean would have caved. I think that because Emily obviously wouldn't move, and Caleb, once he saw that they were going against him, he wouldn't move, right? So I think that Sean would have caved because he was maybe too afraid to go to Rocks because I don't know, right? But the problem with that theory though is that if he quickly realizes that as well, maybe he thinks, well, then I'm at the bottom of this 3-person alliance against Sabaya, right? So it's kind of like that give and take, if you will, right? Of like, do I want to be sure of my safety or do I want to take a chance and try to ride with Sabaya if we both survive, kind of thing, right? But ultimately, like I said, I think that Sean would have caved. Obviously, we won't know. But I think that he would because Emily and Caleb are a lot more. I feel like they've exhibited being more strong-headed than he has.
well, you know what we probably would have saw is them all get up and whisper in each other's ears, and we probably would have saw that nonsense, which I hate. You know, but I don't know. Maybe it's good the way this happened. I don't know. I just thought tonight could have been different and maybe potentially better. It's hard
Yeah,
to say.
no, yeah, like it's. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit again here because we can't help but talk about the end of this episode, right? Like it's just mine because once again there was a lot of factors going in the hidden immunity idol, the misdirection between the players, and and then Jeff obviously like the because once again I think I also this is a kind of a small tidbit on the side. I kind of like it. I kind of find it funny when Jeff introduces these new parts to the game, right? Because he's almost like trying out new material. And so he's just like but it's also, but you can tell though that it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's scripted, right? It doesn't seem like it's his first response to something, right? It seems like there's a couple takes involved.
Oh, probably. Like the show, it doesn't quite have the same feel that especially that it used to. But like, did you notice tonight? Like, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the episode. They have like a whole new intro to this show where they're actually playing the song again, and they never used to do that. Like for
Well,
years
because
and years.
they only had an hour. They gotta spend an extra 60 seconds or so on an intro.
That's such a great point. Yeah,
They're,
because
they're
I
just
thought
I don't know. It's interesting because it's like sure, let's have 90-minute episodes, right? But once again, we've said this before, don't do it every episode, right? Make sure like the episode is worthwhile for a 90-minute episode, right? Because it's more meaningful. But what we're seeing here is that it's kind of like they're trying to upgrade like the format I'm talking about in terms of the show and the time and everything, right? It's almost like they're trying to upgrade the format, but they don't need to do it, and they're not trying to compete with anybody. So they're only trying to like say to themselves, "Well, we need to change and be better." And it's like not necessarily. Maybe you just have to tweak things.
yeah, maybe. I don't mind a 90-minute episode if there's like lots of great stuff, like you said. Like, but a lot of times right now, yeah, it's slog. It's a bit of a slog. These episodes, unfortunately. Like
And this is with a lot of players in still done right in game, right? So
the whole moment tonight with the Red Tribe finding the hammer and being caught digging at the palm tree, and it's just
this is
like
the thing though, right? Like you said it earlier, like it's all like they haven't experienced like hard times, right? So what is there else to show? Like obviously Bella's not really doing anything, and because Brando didn't win the idol thing, right? Or Jack or what? No, who was it? Not Brando. Who was it from the Blue Tribe that went to that one reward?
I don't remember because I missed an episode.
1 second. It was no, I thought it was in the first episode. The
It might have
advantage.
been.
Oh, it was Brandon. He didn't win it. No,
Oh,
not Brandon. He was on Lulu. Sorry, no, he
Brando.
Brando went, right. Was it Brando that went?
Yeah, but
No, Bruce went. Bruce went. Sorry,
was it Bruce?
Bruce went, and he didn't go for it because he didn't want to lose his vote. But anyways, so sorry, I lost my train of thought because I got distracted with
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I just think you're right. Like it's just like I don't know. Like I'm just watching this episode a lot of times and going like, can we get to the point? Can we, do we really need like 30 minutes of Austin and Drew digging and then lying to Dee and Julie? Like it's too much of it. Like it's I don't mind them telling the story, but like man, it's boring. It's just it's just like you're right. There's no hardship, but man, like two tribes, there's nothing going on. They don't even have to worry about voting each other out. It's just this is why I prefer two tribes at the beginning. I do not like the three tribe start. Not a fan. Because like this is what happens. Two tribes just coast to the merge. You know, but sometimes when we get a merge out of this, the way that it's some of the best merges. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't once again, like I don't think this was planned exactly, right? But the show pivoted because the tribe just got decimated, right? Let's we're getting keep kind of over. Let's talk about like how they lost, right? Like we haven't gotten to that part yet, right? The challenge itself.
Oh yeah.
What did I know, right? We're kind of doing covering everything here and kind of in one fell swoop, but we gotta there's still the finer details, right? But like they lost because of the challenge today, right? And
right.
what were your thoughts on the challenge that went on?
Okay, so I just remember the end of the immunity challenge, which was the big giant puzzle. What happens before?
So
I forget.
basically, what they have to do is first of all they have they have to like get the pole off the key, right? Like they have to carry their cart and their puzzle pieces, and they have to get like so I've seen the vertical pole. I can't really do it right. Like I don't know, but like they have to get this key off, and it seems like it's like almost an aspect of every challenge now. So they're going through, they're getting all that, and then they have to dismantle it, put it through the what do you want to call it, puzzle in the wall or opening in the wall. I don't really want to call it to get the right pieces in the right way and get through and then reassemble it. But once again, not very far distances. And then they have to put together a cube that has designs on the outside to, in my opinion, make it too easy to do. They probably could have done that in like 15 minutes, right? But they could have made that puzzle like, and I made a note here. It's funny because I'm like, they wouldn't have done this on the challenge, right? If they did, it would have been a much harder puzzle in terms of adding the logos, right? But typically, what I've seen is like it's a regular 3D puzzle or a 3D, sorry, yeah. Well, I've seen puzzles, not just a cube, but it's not indicated in terms of one way or the other, right? There's that like make them work for it a little bit more, right? If the challenge is so short and you have to make it so short, you don't have to. The contestants can play a lot longer than what we're seeing or perceiving on TV.
Yeah, and why not? Why make it like a physical? Put this puzzle together. Why not do something a little bit more like brainy? And I think like where the audience gets to try to figure it out first too, and then I don't know. It just seems like I don't really care about like the puzzle and like if it's one like that, like who puts it together. It's very like not very climatic. I was like whatever. I didn't care.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
how I felt.
It just once again, I felt like the reward challenge was very short, the course, and it felt like the actual challenge itself was, or the immunity challenge was not very long either. There could have been a lot more, um, I guess, obstacles, if you will, or the obstacles would have taken longer. Like I'm not saying like you have to be like slugging through like like 100 meters of muck, right? I'm not saying like you have to do something crazy, right? But I'm just saying that like there could be a little bit more time spent on the player's part. Like we don't have to see it, so but you can just make them work a little bit harder, in my opinion, right? Because it just adds that extra stress and frustration. It kind of like really shows who's like, who's the better, contestants, if you will, right? It makes them stand out more, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't really enjoy the challenge. I enjoyed the reward one a lot more, but even then, whatever. They're lacking. They're not. The challenges are kind of going downhill. It's sad, a little bit, but at least we had a better tribal, tonight than I saw especially the first episode. There was a joke. The second episode seemed kind of like a formality, from what I could tell from the recap. So tonight was at least a better tribal, and maybe this season will turn around. But right now, this season, it's a bottom tier season for me right now. It is like in my bottom five.
Okay, so we're okay, Jeff. Then if you're saying let's do, because I know that you're a Survivor history buff. I want you to group it. Where does it rank? Who does it rank with in the depths of the rankings?
This to me is in the same ballpark so far as One World and Thailand, and like the ones you like. I can't. Um, Maybe also Nicaragua. Like it's in that tier.
Nothing going on.
Just I'd rather watch Nicaragua again than watch this one. I mean, so far it's been bad.
I don't know why, and you could be correct me if I'm wrong, but for whatever reason, China's coming to mind. But I think that was an okay episode or okay season, wasn't it?
A lot of people like that season. I kind of agree with you. I'm not a big fan of it. I like it okay. If I watch it again, I'd be like, oh, this is so much better. Also the last couple seasons I've not been a fan of. The new format, I'm just not digging it as much. I think like the 26 days is a joke compared to 39.
It's less days but longer episodes.
Yeah. Figure that one out. Yeah, so we're gonna have less material and we're gonna cram it into a longer episode. Seems stupid to me.
Well, this is where I'm saying, like, once again, like, make the game hard. Like, I understand people have had medical things. Like, there was Jake tonight, like, passing out by or whatever what happened, right? Like, he had, like, Kendra called it, like, a small seizure, right? But, like, so I don't really, we haven't even talked about that, but, like, it was, it wasn't really, like, it was kind of just happened, and then they started just talking, and it's like, we're friends now, right? And it's just, like, but it was, like, did they get medical in there? Like, that was not nothing.
And isn't it crazy that they're not doing like flashbacks to like their family life, or they got rid of that? That's all gone now.
Yeah, and it's well,
which is fine, but you made the episode longer. You know, so it's all island time, which is fine.
They're gonna have that. They're gonna have that. There's no way they're not gonna take, because that's so much content that they're gonna lose in time.
I don't think it's coming back, Josh. I don't think you'll see it tonight. I think you'll see it on this season.
I'd be shocked. I'd be like, unless something happened that like we're not aware of, because it just seems like that is like, because you eventually get invested in these players, enough that you want the show to kind of tell them a little bit more about them, right? Or you expect
I want the contestant to tell me that. I don't need pictures and a flashback and a whole story of the production. I don't like it personally. I want the contestant to tell me on the island in the DR. Should be that you should be able to cast people that should be able to tell me enough in the DR who they are, where they're from, what their life is like, or what they're bringing to their experience on Survivor and why it matters. All those things, but now it's a 90-minute episode. Like, you're right. Like tonight, the thing with Jake, is that his name? And all I kept thinking about was the Scoopin incident. Which I was surprised they didn't show us a flashback of what happened with Scoopin in season 2. where I don't know if you know, Josh, but like Scoopin fell on the fire and his like hands literally got like melted, and they had to like medevac him because he passed out over the fire, and like exactly that kind of a thing happened. Um, and he had to be second season medevac. He had to be medevaced, and then guess what season he played after that? The Philippines, which we talked about earlier, and now he's in prison for I don't even want to say because
geez.
yeah, not murder, but something just as bad.
Homicide.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I don't
No,
even want to say it because
no.
I'll tell
You
you
don't
later.
have no.
I'll
It's
tell you.
fine.
I'll tell you
I'm just
after.
looking him up because I've seen that season as we discovered earlier in this episode. So I'm just gonna see who we're talking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he doesn't look like a very
Yeah.
very gentle person.
Right. But anyway, but I'm surprised they didn't show it. That's probably why they didn't show it because of what his recent past. But anyway, it like all these different moments from the history of Survivor are also kind of like it was like they capped it off. Season 40, Winners of War, that's all out the window now. Like all the 40 years of history doesn't matter. We're on to this new version of Survivor that Jeff can go in and out in 28 days and not have to really worry about, like it's like perfectly set up for him, like I get in production, like it's a month-long thing now. It used to be like probably took them like 2 months to set everything up and set everything down. Now it's like probably a lot less. It's always in Fiji. There's no new locations. It hasn't been for a long time. It's Clockwork Survivor now.
Well, it's interesting because I think that, and I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like they've gotten too comfortable, and they've, especially with the locations, because I also think that they're like, it's like a cycle they're doing, right? So they use like the same every like 4 seasons, every 2, 3 or 4 years when things grow back, then they'll like go back to the same area kind of thing, right? Because it seems to me like I feel like there was too much effort being done to because remember all these clearings they made for the challenges and everything, and how much that would have taken, and then they would probably have had to replant it because it's a native, it's a whatever native or foreign land, and like so there was probably all of this extra crap that they were just got like they were like once again it's just like cutting the days, right? Like let's cut costs,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
because
they just didn't want to do that anymore, and they probably like have some sort of contract with Fiji or whatever I don't know who you talk to, but like what I mean. There's some sort of agreement to make it easier for production to do their thing, but once again, we're getting, in our opinion, less material for longer episodes now in the season.
it's less interesting for the viewer. There's like less going on, there used to be things where just like the immunity idol was so like the way they designed it and everything was so interesting. The tribal council, they all blend together for me now. Like none of them are that different where I go, well, that's neat. There's no theme anymore. There's nothing. It's number 45.
It's like they don't have the money in, but they should. Like it doesn't make sense. They just stopped trying.
I just think it's laziness. Yeah, I
The
agree.
bare minimum.
So it's just they think that people just want to watch the game and the people and that's partly true. I do think there's but at the same time, I don't know. I always enjoyed a little theme here and there or a little something to kind of get the players on on some sort of talking point. Now it's just like I don't even know what to make of it.
I don't think there's any excuse to not coming up with a catchy title, right? You're trying to do the like, first of all, the titles of these episodes are not that great.
Yeah, what the hell? What do you mean, No Man Left Behind? What was that about? Was that even said in this episode?
I don't even know. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. So I guess that it probably was, but didn't stand out. Yeah. So like that's how I feel about the season so far. It's bottom tier.
Yeah, it's well. Once again, I think that what you saw tonight is you saw Emily make a. I mean, well, once again, like her telling Caleb at the before tribal council that she was, that they were voting for her. Like that was her turning point. Despite the fact that they're going to split the tribes next week, I think that she's really like brought in her game up from the depths, or because she was on the brink of being eliminated. And if it wasn't for, 1 second, her name was Hannah bowing out, it could have been Emily that first week, because she just rubbed people the wrong way so quickly and didn't have time to change, right? But like I try to be optimistic, and I'm hopeful that if they pivot to this tribe change, which I assume is still going to be 3 tribes, because there's now been 3 people eliminated, so there's 1 less for each tribe, right? So it'll be teams of 5. That actually, well, it will be. There's no way they can do 8 and 7. That's not going. Well, they could, but that wouldn't make sense to me. Do you think they would go to 2 tribes, Jeff, or go to 3?
No, they'll go to 2.
They'll go to 2. They'll do 8 and 7.
Yeah.
Like,
do you know what they'll do?
Losing.
Do you know what they'll do? They'll do 7 and 7, and 1 person will go away for a vote, and then that person, whichever tribe loses, will vote someone out, and then that person.
Have they done that before?
Yep, they do it all the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. So especially when this happens, when one tribe loses like 3 times in a row, that they have a contingency plan, and that's usually what they do. They go, 1 person's safe, and they get to go to this island to go find some clue, or whatever, and they're safe. That's usually what they do.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But no, it looks like I said, I'm a little bit hopeful, because I think it's going to change. So we'll have to see if the tribe change up is going to make a big difference to the thing. I'm hopeful, but what are your final thoughts on that?
On what, sorry?
Do you think that the tribe change is going to make a big difference?
No, it'll be the same. No, it'll be a bit better, but no, I don't think so. We'll see, but I don't think you'll see much of a difference till the merge. And then the merge, even then, it'll probably take a vote or 2 before we get to see anything exciting. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll prove me wrong, but we get there when we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Next week, so not very long. So we could do a quick draft update if you want, real quick. I got it in front of me.
Oh, sure. Okay. I know Amanda lost Sabaya.
Yeah, Amanda lost her top pick, Sabaya, and she still has Katura left. So we'll see how that goes. We'll obviously see all with the new tribes and stuff. Team Daryl still has Sifu and Brando.
Mm-hmm.
Team Dave has Jake and Bruce. The pair that probably will be split up.
Yep.
I've got Austin and Kendra.
Okay.
And then I think Jaemeel's got the best team right now. Well, I think he does, especially with the merge, but he's got Caleb and Emily.
Okay, that's good. Yep.
And then Team Jane is Brandon and Julie. So it's just Julie left.
Yep.
And then you just got Drew left, because you also had Hannah.
Right.
Team Jen is Kelly and Jeremiah. And lastly, Team Sean is D and Sean.
D's impressing me, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with D.
Yeah, no, it'll be I'm okay with my picks. They seem to be good. Like Austin seems to be strong. It's just as long as he doesn't get in his own way, if you will, right? Because sometimes they get a little cocky and too confident. So we'll see if his partnership with Drew turns out to be something strong with that foursome and Reba, but they're going to be split up, right? So I guess as I'm saying this, but then and then Kendra, she's social enough that she should get to the merge. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And then you have Drew. How do you feel about Drew?
Drew, not overly impressed, to be honest.
No?
Yeah, he's giving, what is with this red tribe? They're giving it Austin, everything. They're not making his life difficult at all. I don't know. I thought it was kind of meh. It was like you're helping him out way too much.
Yeah.
But that's just how I felt. Maybe you know, maybe they're doing the right thing. I don't know. Okay, I'm good on this episode. If you want to move on
No,
to
I'm good. I'm just checking the notebook real quick just to kind of because I always like to just make sure got any um oh I know we don't have Dave for the clips like we do, but I think the final comment was to kind of talk about Sabai real quick. I thought she was really funny because when Jeff's trying to ask her something, she's not very animated, right? And I think it was the one thing she said was just like, I can't wait to see what's inside, Jeff. It's gonna be good.
it's gonna be
It's
good.
just,
Yep. I just got my sticks, my tools.
but anyways, that was so. That's the only last little tidbit I think I got for you.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's plug a little bit of what we have. Did you know, Josh, we're part of a united federation of podcasts?
Oh, I've heard about you guys, so do elaborate.
Oh, we have all sorts of different podcasts on this united federation of podcasts. We have the Live Long and Podcast shows. They're important. We got all sorts of we got Locutors of Trek, which is Davan. We got a couple of different banners for that. You watch, Locutors of Trek. It's all talking about all sorts of different fascinating philosophical conversations about Star Trek, and they're great over there. We also have we're not allowed to talk about it, but we bring it up anyway. KBVL. It's a Simpsons podcast with Davin and a couple friends. I don't know who. They're on hiatus right now. Actually, right this second, over on Hold Up, a movie podcast. Dave, that's where he is. Is uh, he's it's a movie debate podcast. Basically, they talk about whether or not movies hold up, and they watch clips and they talk all about it. And they get their popcorn out. So that's a lot of fun. Check that out over on Hold Up. I might even go check it out after we get off here. Graphic Histories. I actually don't know a lot about Graphic Histories. I've never actually watched it, but Dave knows. He always plugs it, and that's all I have to say about that one. X Rated, the X Men animated review show, is Davin. He goes through the old X Men cartoon, and he interviews people that were on this cartoon, which is amazing and fascinating. And he's talked to the voice of Rogue and the voice of Jubilee, and it's great. Um, we got the Hellbound podcast with Michael Chan and I believe Alex Blackburn is his name. Um, they talk about all things horror. So it's October. It's the month of Halloween. Check them out. You got Eamon on Track, which is my nephew. He goes through different albums and he reviews the album track by track and gives you his opinion on it. We have Trivial Debates. Trivial Debates is the kind of the original podcast that we started way before any of all this, and it's a fun debate show where we debate all sorts of different topics of things: movies, TV, sports, history. It's all there. It's a lot of fun. It's three contestants battle it out to see who argues louder. Um, we have we have the Mary Marvel Society, the Mary Mater Marvel Society. Sorry, it's Dave, Davin, and Jaemeel, and they talk all about Marvel shows and movies. And if you like that kind of thing, that's where it's done. So check that out. And then finally, we have this uh show, which is Super Mater Bros Podcasting. We talk about all sorts of different things, but mainly Survivor, Big Brother, occasionally some other shows, like The Challenge. And that is it for all the plugs. Okay. Josh, any of those tickle your fancy? Are you gonna go hop on and watch them Hold Up?
I might do that. I know I've seen a bit trivial debates, been on a trivial debates. That's always a great one.
Yep.
I'm not not starting a debate here, an argument, but I'm a Star Wars over Star Trek fan. But I've heard amazing things about the things they do over there, and I know that they have the movie theater or the theater version or whatever, right, where they do the script reads, and the X-Men is actually I own the animated series, so I have an appreciation for that. But no, there's lots of great stuff, and this is there's a lot of great variety in the Federation of Podcasts.
That's right. Okay, well, thank you for joining me tonight, Josh. It was a pleasure, and we will reconvene here next week to talk about episode 4, and hopefully it gets better. It was better today than episode 1. Hopefully we can build on this because we're in the bottom. We're in the basement right now. But you know what? There's still time, and Survivor sometimes starts really bad and gets really good. So stick around. Come back next week, and we will.
Music to my ears is the episode. What it's called.
Well, there you go. So if you want music to your podcast ears, come back this time next week, Wednesday night. Okay. For all of us here at Super Beta Bros Podcasting, we say good night.